Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Sorry, I was running a little bit late. Today's been a little bit hectic for me. Um, yeah, so this is please like, share, and subscribe. Sorry, I always forget to say that. I tend to just go into it straight away. But yeah, this is obviously you guys have heard the story before. Welcome to everybody, anybody new, welcome. So this is the Operation Varsity Blues. It's about the college admission scandal, you know, the one that Lori Loughlin and everybody was involved in. But this is kind of like remade into a documentary that basically is done by actors. So you see all the CEOs and the famous people being played by other actors basically in there. But it kind of starts with Matthew Modine is the actor's name who plays Rick Singer, the guy who is a college counselor, you know, starts his life out college in teaching basketball and then being a basketball coach, and then decides after he loses his job, I think, or left the job, decides to do something else and realizes there's money to be made in college tuition and college counseling for, you know, the kids that want to go to college, try to set up meetings with their parents, and then obviously teach the kids what subjects to kind of focus on, and depending on what college and universities, you know, is it college? Mainly it's college, isn't it? What colleges they want to get into, and you know what they need to focus on in order to get into that college. So he then realizes there's this loophole, and you know, realizes that these rich parents, that it's a status, like it's rising status for them, because they feel like if they can say to their friends, well, my child's going to Yale or my child's going to Harvard, you know, they're getting more attention, their status within the, you know, the high nonchalant people, you know, rises, and they feel more important due to where their kids go to school. So these people with money decide to basically pay their way in there. You know, we've seen it on the news. You see all the different parts of why these Ivy League colleges became so prestigious. That there's a magazine called US News that apparently from the 80s had been printing about these colleges and doing like a top chart, you know, just like music, doing kind of top 10, top 20, top 40 from all these colleges. And the higher these colleges went up that list, the more prestigious they became for people that want to go there. So then, you know, they talk a little bit about that. They talk a little bit about you know, the preference for athletes, the preference for when you're applying for these colleges, that they prefer athletes that do elite sports. Mind you, elite sports is not going to be available to the normal commoner who's going to college, where their parents have had 2-3 jobs saved up, you know, to send them there. They're not going to be horse riding. They're not going to have experience rowing and, you know, do sailing and stuff like that. Like, they just don't have the money to do those extracurricular activities. They're busy studying, trying to pass the grade to get into these Ivy League colleges, whereas they, you know, are choosing the quicker way in. So it then kind of carries on. It explains a little bit, like, you know, how the USC, for example, how did they not know that a lot of these kids were not even athletes? Because when people actually looked at these files that they put together for these kids, a lot of the time this man would tick Hispanic or Latino just so they could get in there, even though they were not even, you know, they were white and privileged. So he would use all these little loopholes, put them into sports that needed the money. So parents would pretend to donate, right, to a particular sport like sailing, where they would never get any donations. So any donations they would get in, they were happy to receive it. So, for example, Stanford was involved. Stanford was just, you know, choosing to turn a blind eye to all these donations coming in, even though they knew that, you know, sailing was never getting any money like that. So then Jared Kushner actually was mentioned. You know, is it Ivanka Trump? Ivanka Trump's husband, his dad actually is a wealthy man, and he paid his way into Harvard for his son. He paid, I think he pledged 2.5 million, they said in this documentary, to Harvard in order for his son to go there. And he was apparently an average student, if that. So, mind you, and the crazy thing is, in the beginning of this documentary, they show all these clips of, they probably got them on off of YouTube, you know, the reaction clips to when they open their status of what college they might have been accepted to or rejected to. Hence why I use that thumbnail. You see them crying, like being rejected after, like rejection after rejection, every school, Yale, Harvard, all sorts. But then when you hear these stories where they now are getting their way in there with money, it just is infuriating. Imagine that's your child that year that didn't get into all these colleges, and then you're sitting at home working 3 jobs, 4 jobs, you know, back, you know, day and night, barely seeing your children just to make ends meet. And then you've got these people doing this. I mean, it was just, to know the detail though, it was really interesting. Really interesting. You know, they said things like, unless you were making checks of 20 to 30 million, 10 to 20 million pound dollar checks, you're not even getting the admission to even look at you twice. Basically, that's how you know how much money is involved here, that they're paying all this money just to have their kids go to these places. So, and then, you know, the fact that there's limited spots available, you know, that was mentioned as well. People don't get into these Ivy League schools. There's very small percentages. I'm sure a lot of you know, you guys go to school over there. I mean, it's like small percentages get in. When I looked at the statistics, people apply, but you don't really, there's no guarantee of you getting in. And then it just carried on, you know. I mean, this man was then, look, you expected to pay 10 to 20 million. This man was making deals with these celebrities and CEOs of companies, you know, like Lori Loughlin and the Desperate Housewife actress. He was making deals with them, you know, for $250,000, $500,000. Some of them were paying into his were donating into his charity that he classed as a charity, but really that was his business. And then he would hide the payment so that it wouldn't show on the books. Right. And then on top of that, he would give them a tax write-off because they were given to charity. So all in all, it was a win-win for everybody, because really they were giving that money back as well. It's just, it's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out, because the details of this, it's a lot. And then, you know, at some point he gets set up, and this is, you know, he gets caught by the FBI. The FBI apparently was watching him all along, you know, doing some sort of investigation. Then he turns up at this hotel where he was supposed to meet this guy, but the guy had set him up because obviously he got caught out and approached by the FBI, the Stanford coach, and told everything that he knew, and told them about Rick Singer. And it just went from one person to the other. One person told on the other told on the other, and so forth. And then Rick Singer got caught. He then starts calling all the parents, you know, getting them on the phone, on tape, mind you, while the FBI is all around the room, talking to them and making sure that they somehow implicate themselves within the crime that they committed. And they all do. He seems to be a very good interrogator. The way the FBI lady said, the way he made these people just, the way he slithered himself in a conversation with them and made them just spill the beans was just amazing, she said, right? And then it just, I mean, then you've got another guy called Bill McClashen. Bill McClashen, he's a CEO or a founder of this TPG Capital Group, which is some big money company. And he's, you know, on the phone, the actor that plays him is on the phone replaying all the transcripts they had. Mind you, everything you hear while they're speaking, a lot of it is the transcripts that they've had from the FBI. So all the phone conversations that they've had back and forth, like, can you send me some pictures of your son so I can Photoshop him into the water so we can pretend he plays water polo. Then you had Olivia Jade. You know, Olivia Jade was pretending to be a crew member. So she was there on the rowing machine being photoshopped into certain positions and stuff like that. So these parents were actually really colluding with this man in making the image and profile for their child in order to, you know, pass through the admissions department. But then Rick Singer had all these connections in different Ivy League colleges, and even the admission department. There was a lady, I think at USC, who was called Donna Heinel, if I'm correct. Yeah, Donna Heinel, and she was actually given these profiles like Olivia Jades, and then would kind of smooth it over with the rest of the staff when it comes to admissions, and kind of, you know, pass their paperwork through as they're an athlete, when really they know, these coaches fully well know, that these kids don't do nothing of the sort. They don't know how to play these sports. And then it gets to a point where, you know, they're all paranoid. They kind of feel like, what's going on? Some of them are smart enough to not even talk about anything with him over the phone and request meetings straight away, face to face. So they don't even talk. So I mean, in the end, you know, we all know what happened. They get caught. Lori Loughlin, the lot. I mean, there's a list. If you want to Google it, there's a list of the 50 people involved. They were coach staff. They were staff at Rick Singer's company. So people that worked for him within, you know, HR, whatever they were doing within the company. You know, Lori Loughlin and her husband. There were a lot of different couples actually involved that I think in the public eye that we don't necessarily know. So, I mean, to me, it was really interesting to see how these people, you know, try to cover it up. They try to, in the end, you know, try to make up a cover story saying that, you know, the reason that we gave him money is for underprivileged children and to help underprivileged children. That in itself is like, look, the kind of carpet they choose to hide under. It's just ridiculous. Underprivileged children, when really till this day, all that money that they paid into Stanford and stuff like that, mind you, these colleges still have. They haven't given it back. Stanford, I think they said, was £700,000 richer after this case. So can you imagine a college having more money after the fact rather than when they were actually involved in the whole thing? Excuse me, sorry. And, you know, Rick Singer apparently is in denial. I mean, what would you guys do? What do you guys think? Did you guys see the documentary? I don't know if you guys have watched it. I've been so busy. I've not even really been able to take too many notes, but I hope that was enough of a explanation, because the documentary was like, I think, an hour and a half, kind of like a movie length, you know what I mean? But I found it all right. I mean, the actor that played him quite well, actually. The way he was very nonchalant, talking to the parents, just on the phone saying, yeah, I've done it before. Don't worry, I can't fail. Can you fail? You know, a lot of the parents were like, have you done this before? What will happen if they find out, you know, if they actually find out we did this? Will this come back to me and my family? And a lot of them were paranoid like that, but they still did it. They still were desperate enough. You know, psychologists were saying it's as if the parent is going to Yale. It's as if the parent is going to Harvard. Do you know what I mean? Like, psychologically, it's them going to school, even through their child, as they say. You live through your child sometimes, right? It's them going to these prestigious schools because they never went there. So they will do whatever it takes. I mean, there was a girl named, I think, called Molly Zhao, Asian girl. And she looked like she was from, well, we say Asian, but I think you guys say, I don't even want to use the wrong word, but she was in the documentary, and apparently her dad had a lot of money and tried to pay $1 million to get her into Stanford, but they knew that she didn't really, you know, play any sports. I've dropped the link if anybody wants to join in, you know. I know you lot are in the chat. But yeah, so, I mean, the documentary, I mean, what would you do? Me personally, if I had the money, would I have sent my daughter to, I mean, you could have gotten them the best tutors to get them ready to go there, I think. So personally, I would opt in for that. Why spend $1 million when you could really spend $1 million on less than $1 million? You could probably spend 100. I mean, come on, it doesn't take that much for a tutor, a private tutor, to even be with you every single day. It probably would cost less than what you're paying to bribe somebody. So in the end, that coach from Stanford got let off because they said that he didn't take any of the money for himself. He didn't allow himself to be bribed. He used it for the school funds, you know, to buy stuff for the sailing team and stuff like that. So, hi, Leslie.
Hi. You took the words right out of my mouth. Why wouldn't you just pay for a tutor? Why wouldn't you teach your child that it's not to just get by? Why wouldn't you teach your child the importance of honest work?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. It's like you're setting them up for failure. What happens when they can't buy their way into a situation?
Yeah.
What happens when your money runs out?
Exactly. I found it quite ridiculous the way they actually send pictures of their kids. One of them, you know, they reenacted what they did. He had his son in the pool in the back garden, kind of jumping up with the, you know, that tight net around your head that they wear for water polo, the water cap. Had him wear the little water cap and the Speedos, and had him kind of jump out with the photographer and redo the shot. You know, redo the shot.
Water polo lessons.
He redid the shot so they can send him a particular picture, to the point where the coach is like, the guy who's the Rick Singer is like, he's jumping way too high out of the water. That's not realistic. You need to do it again. So it's like these parents were actually making effort getting, you know, private photographers to come and take these pictures of your kids, like Olivia Jade posing on the rowing machine and doing all sorts. Yeah. And then she was being photoshopped into the school's, you know, background or whatever it was. Yeah.
Just, I don't know. It's so disgusting, but I'm glad that they all got what they deserved. I think that everybody should be held accountable, including the schools, including the people who worked in the admissions departments and everything else. That's crazy. No, my cousin's literally going for free. He got drafted out of DR. Like, he's not even American.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand now how actually difficult it is to get to school in America. Like, it's so, and if you want your kid to, I was watching a couple of those reaction videos. It's awful the way these kids are waiting, like the anxiety and the psychological, like, that they go through. Do you know what I mean? Oh, hi, Ablavi.
Hi, Ablavi.
That they go through, the anxiety they have to be so desperate. I need to get in, otherwise my life is over. That's how they feel. But there was a black guy on the documentary. I didn't really catch his name. There was so many names involved, but he was, I think, some sort of college counselor or something. And he said there's so many colleges that you can go to. The Ivy League ones are not the only ones that will give you a good education. So he doesn't understand why people are so focused on that. But again, they build that up, don't they? The Ivy League, the top 10, the top whatever.
This was the greatest film ever, because it shows, you know what? I don't even feel bad for those people who didn't get into the school, because I get tired of people complaining. You learn the same thing no matter if you spend $50,000 a year or you spend $5. The materials are the same. Community college learns the same as an Ivy League, you know, like. So I don't feel bad for these kids. I really don't. And this is the thing.
I mean, but remember,
UPenn,
not
right?
feeling bad for them.
I went to Penn State.
The reason they so badly want to get in, and it's up here. It's the idea that's been built up in them that they're not successful unless it's Ivy League. Do you understand?
And also, you got to understand, a lot of these people that are pushing their kids to do this, like, the right way, like, you know, study and study and study, they're all immigrant families. Like, it's part of the American dream. My child is going to grow up. They're super intelligent. They've gotten so many academic awards. Of course, they're going to go to an Ivy League school. Of course, they're going to get a scholarship. And when they do,
this is the thing. This is the problem, what they don't see. That is a very hard school to go to and be poor. It is very hard to go to the Ivy Leagues and be poor. And not just because, listen, I had friends that went to Ivy League schools. Mm-hmm. These people, they're going on vacation the 3 weeks on yachts. Yeah, on yachts. They're going. So you're never going to be in their world. Now, the really smart ones, the Bezos, the Zuckerbergs, the ones who are incredibly smart, the 1% will make it. Everybody else will be broke with a huge student loan thing. Yeah. Shut up and go to a state school or go to another school. It's not the end of the world. When you need a master.
Yeah. So one of my really good friends got a scholarship to go to one of these boarding schools for high school.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The school was ridiculously expensive. She got a full ride, room and board, everything. It was like she went to Portsmouth Abbey in Rhode Island, which is
I love that school. It's so good.
Yeah. She went to Portsmouth Abbey. This girl was miserable because those people never let her forget that she was the scholarship kid.
Hello.
They never let her forget it. She was like, I was hanging out with Bacardis, like from the Bacardi family. Like and these girls were like, oh, the Brooklyn girl. She was like, so I adopted a really tough attitude because, I couldn't, that was the only thing I could own because they thought that like everybody from Brooklyn was gangsters. So I was like the tough girl. And then they accepted me because I was like, whatever. And
they don't accept you. They use you as the joke. You're never, listen, you cannot buy your way. You have to be born into it. And although we don't have monarchy, although we don't have a king or queen, we still have monarchy here. When you're old money, you don't marry new money. You don't, and even when you do, you're never old money. You're always looked at as trash. So this is that thing. I don't feel bad for nobody. Now, granted, the scandal was ridiculous because as much money as they had, they should have hired people for smarter children, right? And if so, what if their children and the actors it was just no excuse with the actors and the CEOs. It was no excuse. That was no excuse because, like, if you know somebody that goes into Columbia, granted, you might not get in, but you can always go as a sophomore. You can always go as a junior. And the actors, you go to Brown just because you're an actor's child.
Yeah.
And if they do well at Brown, maybe they can go to Columbia. Like, they had no excuse.
For them to pay all that money, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you see, it was the testing. This is where they got people, the SATs. He was paying people to sit their tests for them.
That's ridiculous. You know that? I fell asleep during the SATs. He was using loopholes like pretend your child is slow, pretend she has a hard time understanding the test, and then we can play the card of she has learning disabilities, and then we can say she needs more time. So then all of a sudden the normal kid is getting that time slot that everybody's getting, but then everybody else is getting the one that claimed that she's slow or has a disability when it comes to learning is getting like double the time. So within that double the time, somebody else is doing the test for them and stuff like that.
Okay, let's talk about
this mess. This man was
even in high school.
Loophole after loophole.
No, this is a scam even in high school. I'm not going to say who and what race does it the most, but this was a scam in high school where everybody was so smart when it was time to get in grades. But all of a sudden, the AP exam came as everybody needed 2 hours and everybody had a learning disability and everybody wasn't so smart. And
really?
Yeah, this is a big
To be fair, I was in all AP classes. I still took remedial math because I'm that stupid in math.
And then he would tick things like the kid is Latino or Hispanic. So that's, again, another ethnic loophole that he thinks the school will take them because they need those numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, listen, and then the people who were sitting there, okay, so the affirmative action always gets brought into this, right? And
hi, Jamie. Sorry, carry on.
I'm not going to, that's stupid because affirmative action, most of black kids, well, I'm going to speak for the black people. Most black people that go to Ivy Leagues are foreign born black people. Right. Most of them. Most people cannot afford an Ivy League. Even with the financial aid. These schools are $75,000 a year. They're not even guaranteed you'll make that once you graduate.
Yeah.
They guarantee the death though.
Yeah. These people, listen, at the end of the day, these children had everything. If their children didn't go to Ivy League schools, it wouldn't have mattered. Their children are done. I don't know why people sit here and spend. I would never spend money on an Ivy League, but that's just me.
No, honestly, I wouldn't spend money on an undergrad degree. Honestly, really, what matters is where you get your master's from.
It depends what you get your undergrad in. If you get an engineering degree, you're set.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know. We're talking about somebody who's like me, who's math dumb. So I was not getting an engineering degree. It didn't matter where I got my liberal arts degree.
I have a liberal arts degree too, but I had to take that good math. And I had to take a lot of it too.
No, but right. I wanted to ask a question actually. What, like, these people, right? The coaches and stuff. Why do you think that they took the risk with their job and their name and their reputation in order to get bribes? Minus John Vandermouden or Vandermole or something like that from Stanford. He was let off because he didn't take any other money. He just put it into the school.
Because when you work at an Ivy League school, you're not getting paid. See, the thing people don't tell you about prestige is it don't pay. Right?
Right.
So because I had a friend who interned at Vogue.
Right.
She worked for Vogue for a year for free. For free. 40 hours a week. Sometimes 60.
That's crazy.
For free.
Not even getting to dip into the closet?
Well, yeah, you dip into the closet, but not like she was an intern. She wasn't an assistant.
So as an intern, they make you work there for over a year for free.
Well, that's what interns do. They work for free.
For free.
If you're lucky, you get a stipend for food.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, okay. I thought you got the minimum, like apprenticeship money.
No.
Oh.
It depends. It depends what you're in. If you're in art, you're not getting paid. If you're in engineering, they're going to pay you. Well, depending on the institution.
Yeah.
But if you're in like fine arts.
No, because if you're a young person and you do an apprenticeship and you're still living at home and you're learning, but they pay you, they'll probably pay you half of what a normal person would get, or maybe less than that. You know what I mean?
Don't give them anything.
A week?
Yeah, no, nothing.
They'll give you a little bit of money every month.
They give you like 20 bucks a day for food.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
No, that's the scam. Not only will they not give you anything, they'll give you college credit when then you have to pay it to your university. So you're in the hole.
Yeah. So you have to pay to have those credits actually reviewed and accepted.
Right. Okay. Whereas you lot don't.
What do you mean?
With the credits, you don't pay?
No, you do, but like you're working for free, and then you have to pay the school to get the credit.
Right. Yeah.
So you're negative. So you'll probably pay like $3,000, maybe $4,000 to work for free.
That's crazy. But then if you want that career, if you really want that career, you're going to do it. Right? Yeah.
They're so competitive.
Yeah. I mean, there was a Yale coach, a black guy, that was one that, used the guy and was bringing people in left, right, and center at Yale for the soccer coach. Mm-hmm. I think his name was Rudy something. I can't remember his last name. But he was bringing in people and had connections. He had connections everywhere. I mean, the Stanford coach said when he had a meeting with Rick, he asked him to meet him at Stanford, but he expected to go to the front reception to go and collect him. But as the man is sitting in his office, remember, Stanford, he says, has so many security places you got to walk through to get to the offices and stuff. And clearly he had connections there that were more than the coach, because he made his way all the way to the office and brought himself there personally. So already that made him suspicious, like he's already got connections here. But talks to him about recruiting all the time. He always spoke to him about recruiting. And then before you know it, I'm not really recruiting anymore this year. And, we're looking to donate. So can you recruit this person? It's underhand, isn't it? I'll give you some money for donation, and then you recruit this person. Here's the application.
You want to be honest how you get into school? You want to be honest what they should have done? So a way to get into school is you need to know who is the gift buyer of the school. So there's somebody in every school whose job it is to see how much endowment and things they get. If you're a smart person, you know this person, because this person knows how much everybody's donating, how much donations will get you into the school, what you can do to get into the school if you're smart. Now, another way to do it is going to programs in this school, going through. I don't understand why people don't do this. You can always go through everybody's alumni. It's online, and see who you know, type in their name and ask.
Yeah.
People don't use it. And like, listen, if you go to city, you're going to, success is not about where you go. Success is about what you do.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, all this money that they paid, if they had put that in a pot and put that towards stuff that actually was helping underprivileged kids, instead of lying about it and using that as your cover up once you realize the FBI was on your ass, right? Then, you know, change could have happened. There was one lady actually that said the best thing in the whole thing. She, remember the lady in the end who said that if they had made these people, instead of the jail fine, the fines they were given fine, she says all of that doesn't do anything. If they actually made them pay substantial amount of money and put that funding into something good, that would have at least made a difference. But they didn't do that. These people still walked away with their nose in the air thinking they're better than us, because the Desperate Housewives lady only did 14 days. That was disgusting.
Okay, but the difference is, the issue with them now is how they go through life, right? Because essentially the FBI knows everybody who's done this, right? So the farther you get in your career, you're going to have somebody in the background looking at how you got into the school, what happens. So maybe these kids is nothing now, but maybe they become a CEO one day, right? With all their family connections. Or maybe they run for president. Then somebody's going to go, wait, you're part of this.
Yes. Yeah.
It
always comes back to bite you.
And also, nobody wants to work with any of these actors or anything now because they're tainted. Like, how could you?
And I'm sure even in Hollywood, people are looking side-eyeing them like, you tried to pay your way into school. Ha, ha, ha.
But you know what I mean? With Lori Loughlin.
Yeah.
She should have raised kids. She should have raised kids that weren't so stupid. I'm sorry. She should have raised better.
I know. And, you know, there was footage in it as well of Olivia Jade on her first day of school. She's there, like, filming her on her phone. Oh, the classroom is so hard. It's hard everywhere. It's hard. And then all she can say is, I don't want to be here. I just want to go home. Like, and it's like, these kids were watching this. You know what I mean? All her fans have subscribers who, a lot of them could have missed out on a place due to her.
Well, she has 1.86 million people on YouTube.
And apparently they're saying this actually made this girl even more famous. Like,
look.
Yeah.
Listen, Parental is what sells right now. I mean, I blame the Kardashians for ruining life.
Yeah.
They ruined childhood and teenage years.
Well, and I will give them credit.
I agree, Michelle. Spoiled.
It's not pretending to be smart. It's not going to college. I give them that, because they shouldn't even, like, don't even try. Just say you're pretty. You know, I agree with them on that.
Right.
But this Olivia Jade, well, she's not doing as well as she did before, even with her YouTube. But it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that if Lori Loughlin wasn't going to put in their daughter's butt to study, she should have been okay if she went to Arizona State. Like, Olivia would have loved that school. It's a big time party school. Yeah. She didn't need to go to USC.
But remember, Olivia was more famous than the other one. The other one is just average. Did you see her in the documentary?
Yeah.
She don't look nothing like them. And even Olivia, when you really, really look at her, it's all the makeup and everything. She ain't all that either. Really.
I'd like to see her when she's 30, or maybe I don't.
She's just a normal girl, yeah.
Interesting. I enjoyed it. I thought it was scandalous. I'm here for it. And this is the thing that normal people need to understand. You wouldn't have taken that spot. Another rich person would have taken it. They just took a spot from a rich person. That's it.
I mean, when the story broke, apparently there was one rich Chinese businessman who called in straight away and said he will pay so much to get his daughter into Yale or something. Like, it was ridiculous. People were thinking, this is, man, I've got the money. So I can pay for my child to go wherever they want. I can do, and it's another part of control as well, isn't it? When people have too much money and what's that saying again? More money than sense, right? Yeah. That's the saying. So I'm just like, these people will throw it at their kids, but in the end, look at Olivia Jade. She's still only doing something with the internet. She's not really doing anything when it comes to academics, really. You know what I mean?
But that will, because she's a dud.
But this is the thing, though. Even with the Kardashians, I'm interested to see how they're going to do when the older they get, right? Because what they do is cute now, right? But they're all starting to hit that 40 mark, and 40 ain't 30.
No.
It's not?
No. Meaning, like, what you want in life, like vanity. When a woman is 50 and is vain, you're looking at her like, are you crazy?
Thank you. When
a woman is 20 and vain,
yeah,
you're like, okay, she's like, a lot of the allowances they're getting. It's going to be interesting to see the older they get.
Oh yeah, Kim can't be doing
they're going to be looked at like Lisa Rinna. Like, what's wrong with you?
No, but Kim can't be doing no floss looks again. She needs to stop that now. She needs to hang up the floss and come off Instagram and go raise your 4 children. Because this is ridiculous.
I don't know, man. J-Lo's still making it work with the floss at 50.
Yeah, but yeah.
It's better now than she did at 20.
But she's with a no, let me stop. Let me stop.
I know. Because now allegedly they didn't break up. Allegedly.
Yeah. Oh, please. Again, this is her trying to probably stay in the spotlight. She loves the spotlight, remember? So this is just her trying to stay relevant, I think. Because there's nothing going on for her. And plus, she's got a new movie coming out, I think. Because remember that rumor that came out about Arm Hammer being some sort of sex freak?
Yeah.
You know that, innit, Ablavi? Arm Hammer, that actor. He's some sort of... Right. What was the connection there? He was supposed to be filming a movie with Jennifer Lopez abroad, and he canceled that movie because of this scandal that come out about him. Was it sexually? What did he do again to the woman?
They said he's a masochist.
So there we are.
Yeah, but
they
it doesn't matter. He's very wealthy. He's from an oil family. He'll be all right.
I know. He's been in a documentary that I watched. His dad. What was his dad again? He was involved in, I think, the sex thing, Was he in the Woody Allen documentary? I'm not sure. But he was involved in something. Arm Hammer's dad. I'm going to have to Google what he was involved in. But he was involved in something that I was watching.
This was one of the best films. I laughed my whole way through. I didn't feel bad because I don't play rich people games. I like to stay in my broke lane. I like having my $7.99 wine, my $6.99 champagne, and I stay in my lane.
And I was going to ask you if you wanted to learn how to golf with me this summer.
Oh, I used to work at a golf club, so
I would love to learn how to golf, and nobody wants to learn how to golf with me.
We could go mini golfing. That's because that golf thing is too long. So mini golf is better.
Okay, we'll do mini golf.
But yeah, I stay in my champagne.
That's what it was. I watched a documentary on art fraud. His dad used to own a big, art gallery. And they committed, people found out that there were these big paintings that were sold to them. And this person was claiming that they were from back in the day, from these painters that only paint with a certain oil type paint or whatever it was. It's an art documentary. It's really interesting. I'm into all sorts of documentaries. It's an art documentary, and his dad was involved in this big boutique, art gallery that had a big name, and it's been involved in art for like over 100 years. And in the end, they went broke because people found out that they sold these paintings for like 10-20 million to other galleries and, to the Louvre in France. They were selling it to the Louvre. What did I say it right?
Oh,
did you give it a shout out?
Listen, I don't feel bad for them. The scam is real. We all been scammed.
Yeah,
you lose the money and then move on.
But yeah, I'm got a $500 one. He was on the block tickets.
He was filming with Jennifer Lopez, so I know she's got something coming out. I bet you she's got something coming out.
Absolutely.
Soon.
And you know how I know that for a fact? Because she threw out her little like, oh, mi gente, in the middle of Biden's, when she was singing God Bless America. I was like, oh, you got something coming out, because all of a sudden you want to call us right back into your corner. No, honey.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez needs to fix her hair before I support her. Her hair looks so dry and dusty. It's just hanging on its last length. Jennifer Lopez
all that and dyeing and styling.
Her hair looks like hay. It just looks like hay just sitting there, and it's about to pluck off.
Hey, nurse, why are you so quiet?
Listen, this school scandal thing is ridiculous. And anything, this is on a smaller scale, but there are other people that are not millionaires that they do participate in getting type of referrals and all kind of little things to get their kids in certain type of schools and certain type of programs. But again, if the kid isn't really going for SATs, really going into making sure that they have good grades, the kid's going to end up failing out. Then they all have this uncomfortable conversation midway through the summer with the other parents and like, oh, well, Jessica, she was over, she was just stressed out and she couldn't handle school. We're doing other businesses with her. At the end of the day, what is the purpose of
mental health is more important than anything that
no, they won't fail out
because offer her. She's the most important thing. And at least she gave it the good old try.
No, she wouldn't fail out. Remember, college is different than high school. You can be bad at certain classes in college and do high school and do very well in college. There are classes, like for me, history was very easy. If I was a history major, 4.0 would have been me because it was very easy for me.
Yeah, and me. I love history.
Very easy.
That's the devil.
But maths was like, no, languages, I was great. I still am. I love languages.
Math was good for me. I did great in it. Now that stupid econ was the struggle. But it depends what you want to do.
Algebra. I struggled with algebra all the time.
Oh no!
I'm good they start putting letters in there.
I hate it.
No. Math. I love math.
You can have math. It loves you.
But I'm saying, like, typically they would have been comm majors. Sorry, Leslie. And comm, they was playing. They was playing in college. You know, like you could say what they was. They was playing in college. Comm people would be watching Grey's Anatomy finals week.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, that's some BS.
They would have finals that were presentations. They would have finals that they would just, have to talk to the teacher. Yeah, they would have all kind of nonsense. They could get out of taking science and math. So if they could speak and if they could write, they could have done really well in college.
I love me an essay. Give me an essay any day of the week. I will talk you in a circle so big that you think I actually read it. I'm good with that. I'm good with it. I did very well in school. Thank you very much. I hate math.
But you didn't have, college doesn't make you take all those courses. Like me and nurse, we had to take calculus.
Business calculus, chemistry, anatomy.
Chemistry, physics.
One, two, yeah. Oh yeah, physics kicked my ass. Physics kicked my ass.
Like there was no, oh, you can't take an English course. No. And then you would have to write some stupid essay all night. So depending on what you do, these kids aren't going to go for anything that's, okay, I don't want to say hard, but they're not going to go for anything that will challenge their mind.
No, 100%. They're not going for anything that's hard. Say it like it is. Like, they're not going for that because it's like they just want to sail through, really. They don't want to really put in any effort. As soon as they've, as soon as they grow a relationship with Instagram, it's all over. They're not.
Because I wasn't trying to waste my parents' money. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I wasn't going to put in the effort that it took to be in any of like these I don't want that pressure because I wasn't going to put in that kind of effort. What I wanted to do was I wanted to travel for 2 years after high school, and I didn't get the chance to do that. You made me go to school. Okay, I'll go to a okay school. I'm not going to go to
there's plenty who study. There was one little girl who said, all she sees is people who don't have a life. All they do is homework. After classes, they're doing homework. Before classes, then they're taking all these extra AP, and they're crying when they get rejected because they opted for APs they didn't even care about, but in their head they thought it's going to help them get into all these prestige colleges. And then in the end, it's
life lesson. That's a life lesson. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how hard you try. If you are not capable of defending yourself, somebody's always going to take advantage of you, because you can be the smartest. There are people who are valedictorians, who are the smartest people. You remember, Harvard University has the most valedictorians ever going to their school. Everybody in that school is smart, or they know smart people to take their thing. You are going in a different arena. And if you're not one, like my guidance counselor told us up front, if you're not valedictorian or pseudodictorian, you're not going to Harvard, Yale, Princeton. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Mm-mm. So don't even apply. And the people, and there was a certain group, all their parents were like, how dare you say that? My child is so smart. And none of them got in.
Yeah. I agree, Heidi.
My sister actually just got she teaches CCD, like religious education, at her church. Mm-hmm. And one of her CCD kids, she was like, she just spoke to her the other day, and she was like, oh, she told me that she got into her first Ivy League. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, she got into UPenn. And I was like, what?
That's another one. Is UPenn Princeton, by the way?
No, they're two different.
Okay. I was going to say.
She applied for a bunch of them, but she actually, the kid is thinking, she was like, no, I think I'm going to go to St. Francis. I think it's in Jersey or something. Yeah. She was like, I think I'm going to go to St. Francis because they offered her a full ride for all 4 years with room and board and everything. I was like, that's a smart kid. Like, she's not going to stress herself out or her parents out. Like, because at the end of the day, isn't it better to have a free education?
Of course.
Than to have whatever name, you know?
Yeah.
That's St. Francis, and one of the Ivy League schools might offer you. You know?
That's what I regretted, though. I regretted where I went to college. I really should have gone to an HBCU. I really regret that.
Yeah. We were talking about that. One thing that Heidi said, she pointed out a really good point, is that the younger generation, the Kardashians, of course, have done this big array of things, and not just them, but everyone else that's on social media. Everyone's living a luxury lifestyle. But with that being said, it's only like because the people that I follow, a large amount of them actually do work regular 9-to-5s, and they're able to afford their lifestyle based off of the type of work that they do. But with those who are honestly, I believe that there's a new study that just came out, all the high school kids, like a large number of them wanted to be YouTubers, and a small percentage of them wanted to be astronauts. Whereas in China and other places, they wanted those trade type of education and careers. Where it was the flip. Whereas now, again, everyone has a camera. Everyone does have the capabilities of doing something, but it may not go that large. But all you're seeing is the end game of, luxury at the end of the day. So I can't say Kim is wrong for showing off that's her lifestyle. Who's to say that that's wrong? But then again, the whoever you're around, your aunts, your uncles, your family, they're supposed to at least let you know that this is also obtainable a different type of way, the same way as far as like African American people. A large amount of times they're like basketball players or football players. But the amount of people that ever become an actual professional football player or something is something that you can win the lottery before you get into there. So when you I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, keep on going.
So when you're having conversations with your children, you need them to understand, yes, you can always play sports and do whatever, but you also need to look at a different type of career that a large amount of time, you don't even have to do that much, but you get a couple of certifications, you get a license here and there, and you make a very good living. So there's other options.
My question is, what's going to happen when YouTube goes the route of CDs?
Yeah.
You know, what's going to happen? Because you know it's eventually going to happen. What's going to happen?
This is the problem with science.
That you built around something that no longer exists.
Science doesn't pay well for the average person. And what I mean is very few of them will become millionaires. Now, granted, you had that whole bubble with YouTube, but most people, live an ordinary life. Now, the whole thing about China, I don't know where people get that China are having all these astronauts. The number one occupation for the Chinese is accounting.
Yeah. And they work 80 hours a week and they die at 40.
Accounting. However, if you look at technology and artificial intelligence, we're not going to need people to do these jobs. So what happens when a computer can code itself? What happens when a computer can do your accounting? But I'm saying that's just a few. I understand, like, people really push STEM, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being in STEM, but I think when you remember, the population is decreasing. 2006, they're going to have less students than college seats they have. So they're going to have to start getting competitive. People are not having children. The replacement rate is at 1.7. So the country's getting more expensive. The jobs are leaving. Even you're seeing the big time jobs. Even engineering jobs are going to leave. So when they say we need this many more people, they're forgetting technology is going to change. And while I think you shouldn't be a YouTuber and you should do what makes you money, I think a lot of people need to be aware that the job you get at 22 might not be here at 40.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if the generation before us would have actually had that in account, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in now.
No, that's definitely true. Well, as you saw with the whole industry, where they were making cars and the factories and all that, that's gone away. So that already showed us where large industries can just disappear overnight.
Yeah.
It's not just that. Look at farming. Farming's going to go one day. There's a lot of these jobs that realistically in the next 10 to 20 years are going to go away.
I wish farming would come back.
It's not coming back. It's going to go away. If you see what robots can do, and they're just more expensive now than humans, but it might come to the point where once they become cheaper than the humans, is by the people.
Yeah.
Well, and they need to stop genetically modifying my food.
Remember, a lot of big car companies and stuff like that have replaced people with machines. A lot of them.
Yeah, they create
they make the cars and stuff instead of the people. So a lot of industries have changed. But this documentary, did you not watch the documentary, Nurse and Nerd?
Mm-mm.
It was really good, actually. I liked it, didn't we?
I loved it. I was watching it.
Okay, if we rate it, what should we rate it out of 10? Then go on, last thoughts and rate it. Oh, really?
10. It was so good. Yeah. I loved it. I loved the scam. I was here for it. I'm not going to sit here and say, because this is what it is. This college campus shows you high school doesn't end. You just got to get more clever with it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand why people were crying. This world owes you nothing. If you don't listen to anything I say, believe that. You are going to work, stretch, bite. Whatever gets you that job, somebody else got there doing something nefarious. You better take it. Every opportunity I get, I make the most. I don't care if I'm there because I'm a Black. I don't care if I'm there because I'm a woman. Once I get there, I show them that I'm there. And that's what you need to take from it. Don't get mad about what other people do. Just do better what you do. Those are my last.
Okay, good. Nurse?
I believe you just wrapped it up in a perfect package. Literally, the world is high school as soon as you continue. Yeah. You're going to work with idiots. You're going to work with people that you're on a project with, and you're the only person that's doing anything. But again, you need to take hold of it to where at the end of the day, you do the best that you can for yourself. But high school does not end at high school. There's always a popularity contest of some foolishness. Whatever you're accepting to participate in, you'll accept it and move forward. But definitely, she hit it right on the head as well. No one owes you anything. Your parents don't owe you anything. Your job, your mom, nobody owes you anything in life. Just make sure that you go after what you want.
Good. Well said. Leslie?
Amen. What else can I say?
Same here, I can't even top that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the little recap and the discussion about the admission scandal. I don't even know what I'll do next. What did I say I was going to do next?
Murder among
Murder among Mormons. Anybody who's, you know how we always discuss Andrea on the 90 Days Fiance. We can talk a little bit about Mormons. Maybe we can understand her madness a little bit better. So yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for coming. Thank you for keeping the chat alive, Heidi and Michelle, and I think who else was in there? Yellow Flower. Thank you for that good input. But yeah, thank you so much. See you next time, and I suppose we'll say bye on 3.